In this video, I'm going to walk you through this slide set 3.5, Intro to Statistics. And in particular, we're going to create a histogram as is shown here in the slide set. We're going to start out by going to your assignment in Canvas. We're going to download this file. Select this link. And store the file in your Documents folder. Select Save. I've already downloaded the file. I'm going to cancel. Start out by opening Excel. I already have it open. I have the application here in my taskbar. It's a green X. You can also find it here. If you go to your Windows Start menu, it should be here in your Start menu. The green X, Excel 2016, or you may have Excel 2013. Open it. Go to File and open up the file you just downloaded. You could come here to This PC or Browse and go to your Documents folder and select the file you just downloaded. You notice I already created a data set for you. There's a series of 20 numbers here, and then some additional text here, sum, average, median, and so forth. Notice that the data starts in cell A1. This is column A. This is row 1. This is referred to as A1. And it goes all the way down to A20, column A, row 20. Let's start out by positioning my cursor here in A21, cell A21. I'm going to total up these numbers here. I'm going to sum these numbers with my cursor here in A21 with the cell bordered in green. I'm going to enter a formula. I'm going to select this icon here, Insert Function. Notice that you get an equal sign here. I'm going to search for the sum function. I'm going to select all. I'm going to search all commands. And here I'm going to type in sum, S-U-M, select go. Notice it's here on top, S-U-M. I'm going to select it. And there's a field here, and it's automatically entered in A1 colon A20. So it's selecting the range A1 through A20. And you could either type it in, or I'm going to delete this. I can also select the range in the spreadsheet. I'm going to select A1 and then holding down my left mouse button, I'm going to drag down to A20 and let go, select it. You notice it says A1 colon A20, and notice also up here there's your formula, equals sum A1 colon A20. Select OK. You notice that it summed up these numbers for you. Now you may not see the exact number I have here, 8.150, but if you select that cell and right mouse button, you'll get this menu. And here you could either increase or decrease the number of significant figures. You can increase it or decrease it. Select these so you have 3 significant figures. And you can hit Escape to exit. Now there are many ways of totaling numbers. That's one of them. I'm going to go ahead and delete that entry, position my cursor in A21. If I come up to formulas, you notice that there's this command here. It's the capital letter sigma for sum. And if you go to your slide set, it's this symbol here, summing up numbers. So I can go to formulas and select that command and notice that, and then hit enter, and notice that it sums it up for me. Now I also have that same command, the sum command, here in my quick access toolbar, and you should put it there so that because you use it all the time. So that's one way. Another way of getting the sum. I'm going to calculate the average. I'm going to position my cursor in A22. And going back to your slide set, the mean, or the average, is equal to the sum divided by the number of numbers in your data set. and it's designated with the small Greek letter mu for mean. So there's your formula. Going back to Excel, I'm going to position my cursor in A22, and I'm going to enter equals the sum divided by 20. And for division, we use the backslash. Enter. So if you position your cursor in A22, you notice I entered in the formula equals A21 divided by 20, which is the sum divided by 20 because there's 20 data points, 20 numbers here. And there's your average. I'm going to do the same thing using a function, an Excel function. I'm going to position my cursor in A23 and then select this insert function again. I'll once again select all commands, and I'm going to type in average. Go. You notice it's on top. I'm going to select it. And for the range, I'm going to delete this. And once again, I'm going to select A1 through A20. I'm holding down my left mouse button, and then I'm going to release. And you notice that the range is A1 colon A20. And in your entry bar, it says average, parentheses, A1 colon A20 close parentheses. Select OK. And you get the same result. Here you entered in a formula, and here you used an Excel function. Position my cursor in A24, and I'm going to look for the median. So the median is a measure of central tendency. So if you had a data set, it's the number located right in the middle with equal number of data points above and equal number of data points below. So with my cursor in A24, I'm going to insert a function. And once again, I'm going to search all commands. And I'm going to type in median. Select it. And once again, I'm going to enter the range. This time I'm just going to type it. A1 colon A20. And you notice that the median is 0.578 also, the same as the average, which it's not always the case. It just so happens to in this instance. I calculate my minimum. Now the minimum is the smallest number in this data set. Position my cursor here. Look for another function. Select all. Enter min, M-I-N. Select it. And once again, I'm going to enter in my data range A1 colon A20. And the minimum is 0.748. That's the smallest number, and that's right here. 0.748. I'm going to find my maximum. Select all, and then search for maximum, MAX. And here it is on top. Select it. Select my range again, A1 through A20. And the maximum is 0.767, and that is right here. Going back to my slide set, the range is the difference between the minimum and the maximum. Position your cursor in cell A27 and then enter in a formula equals the maximum. I'm going to point to A26 and then the minus symbol. Subtract the minimum. I'm going to point to A25. Your formula should look like this, equals A26 minus A25, and then select enter. And your range is 0.019. Now search for the standard deviation. I position my cursor in A28 and select Insert Function. I'm going to select Statistical this time. And I'm going to search for standard deviation. And you notice it's here on top, STDEV. I'm going to select it. It's asking for a range. Once again, I'm going to enter in the range. A1:A20. And notice here's your formula. And the standard deviation is 0.005. Now next I'm going to create my data bins here in this area here. I'm going to position my cursor here. And I'm going to enter in a formula. I'm going to place my cursor here and enter equals. The average, I'm pointing to A23, the average, plus the standard deviation, I'm pointing to A28, divided by 2. Enter. I'm going to enter in another bin range. I'm going to point to cell C3. I'm going to enter in a formula, position my cursor here, enter equals. I'm going to point to C4. I'm going to enter in the minus sign. I'm subtracting. The standard deviation, C28. And either select the green check here or select enter. I'm going to enter in another bin range. I'm going to point to C2. I'm going to enter in equals C4 minus 2 asterisks for times the standard deviation. So your formula should look like this. And enter. Create another bin range. Position your cursor at C5. Enter equals C4 plus the standard deviation and enter. Position your cursor in C6 and I'm going to create another bin range. I'm going to enter equals C4 plus 2 times 2 asterisks times the standard deviation and enter. So there are my bin ranges. So now I'm going to create my histogram. I'm going to come up to my ribbon and select data and data analysis and histogram. I'm going to fill in these fields. I'm going to position my cursor here under input range. I'm going to point to A1 and drag down, holding down my left mouse button, and select all the way down to A20. I'm going to point to this field, and I'm going to select my bin range. I'm going to select from point to C2 down to C6. I'm going to select this field here, output range, and I'm going to point to D1, and I'm going to check this box here, chart output. Notice that Excel enters $signs in front of each of the letters and each of the numbers. It'll work either way, with or without the $signs. Select OK. And here's my histogram chart. I'm going to place it right here. So the way you interpret this, notice that in the first bin range, the frequency is 3, and if you notice here, the height of this bar is 3. So that means there are 3 numbers here in this data set that fall into the bin range less than 0.75. And those three numbers are shown here in yellow. Now this next bin range, numbers between 0.75 and 0.755, there's one of them. And so here's the bin range. And the height of this bar is only 1. And that data point corresponds to this number here shown in yellow. And so forth. So each of these bars corresponds with each of these bin ranges. So we're done now. Make sure you save your file. Select Save and save it in your Documents folder. And go to my snipping tool. I have it here in my taskbar. If you don't, you can go to your search and type in SNIP. Should be here. Just select the snipping tool, open it up. Select New and select the entire window. Come all the way up. Make sure you include your name. You notice your name is right here. Include your name. Save your screen capture. Append your initials to the file name capture and save it. Go back to Canvas and submit your screen capture to complete your assignment.